morning, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Talk About It with Sam, where we discuss today's current events, life, health, wealth, and lifestyle. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe for more content. We have so much more to come. You can also find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Training with Sam. Let's go.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to be here today with Sam Mazzola. And Sam and I came across each other through just work in my normal business, my directory. And she works at a healthcare company, but also is a holistic coach. And so, Sam, I would love to hear a little bit more from you about, who you are, and what you do. And then we'll get into how you can help clients and everything like that. So
yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Kate.
yes.
So I started my background probably, I want to say roughly around 2009. I started working as a medical assistant, and then I continued my education, and I worked for healthcare for about 10, 11 years. And recently came across a more coaching aspect. I became a personal trainer, and I went through my own personal transformation, where I lost a ton of weight and really just went on like a super healthy journey, and really just wanted to help other people do that. During my transition, I came across a lot of people that were facing similar struggles as me, but didn't know where to start and didn't really kind of know what to do. And then I realized, this might be my niche. Like, this is where I'm at in my life, where I can help other people transform the same way that I did.
Yep. I think that's so amazing. And like I said, I'm just super excited for you and so excited that you're local and stuff like that too. But so what were some of those challenges that you were struggling with, that you were stuck with? What would you say were the biggest things that were holding you back?
Time management, being constantly overstimulated and overwhelmed. I was a very young mom. I had a young son for a long time. So anything that had to do with me and health, and anything that had to do with kind of like self-love or healing, had to go on the back burner. I was at sports. I was up early. My son had to go to school, after school programs, dinner, the house chores. So a lot of overstimulation. It took me a long time to really try to prioritize myself, and to really just sit down and say, I can organize this chaos, and it doesn't have to be so chaotic all the time. And that's what I did.
How did you do it though? Because I feel like that is a challenge. Did you have coaches yourself? Because I feel like it is so challenging for many people, where it's like, I want to feel better. It's overwhelming. The information out there is overwhelming. So, how did you do that? And was it baby steps? What was some of that journey like for you?
Yeah, so definitely baby steps. I mean, everything takes time. The first part of my transition was realizing that I was a part of the problem.
Yep.
Was really taking a look at myself and saying, I'm the leader of this house. I'm leading my children. I'm leading my family, and I'm not leading them well. That's why we have such chaos. Like, I need to do better, and I need to lead by example, and I need to be a better role model. So after kind of sitting in that, because it's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do, to say,
No.
I might be a part of this problem.
Yeah.
After doing that and taking a look at myself and saying, I need to make changes, I sat down and I thought to myself, what changes do I need to make? One, we're not a yelling house anymore. We're a communicating house. We're going to communicate with each other. Two, we're going to focus on time management. What we're doing isn't working here. We need to start waking up earlier. We need more time to prepare ourselves. Preparation needs to be key in our family aspect.
Yep.
And then I started with simple affirmations. I was going to sleep every night and I was saying kind of affirmations, like I affirmations, and really just kind of putting things out into the universe. And then the same thing when I woke up. So faithfully, before I went to sleep at night, when I woke up in the morning, I would start with my affirmations, and I kind of just started to feel better, even though I wasn't doing too much. I was just talking about it. And then something that helped me a lot was I read a book. It's called Mind Control by Dr. DeSilva, and it's on Audible. And I listened to the book probably 3 times, and I was like, you know what, this is it. Like, this is actually helping me change my life, because he gives you steps, and he gives you kind of like a breakdown on how to change the way that your brain is currently functioning and how to strategize these things better. And then I started listening to it while I was asleep. So I was playing the book while me and my kids were sleeping so that they could hear it too. Which is a little funny because we usually have like a really quiet house at night.
Yeah.
But I noticed that my son's organization was starting to pick up and he was starting to talk about things that he didn't usually talk about. So I knew that we were tapping in somewhere.
Yep. Yep. How old is your son?
My son's 13.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, what a great age too to be getting involved in that. And props to you for saying like, I'm a part of the problem in taking that, because I feel like we're in a society of like, it just is what it is. It's chaos. Like kids have sports and this and that, and it's hard to prep. And it's like taking back control of that and actually sitting with that is very like, I give you props for that, because that's definitely one of the hardest parts of a healing journey. And now you mentioned too being a medical assistant. I'm so sorry, I'm butchering that title. Were there things that you picked up on in that industry versus like the holistic industry, because you're seeing it every day? So like, what were some of the things that you might have noticed, I guess, or that you might have done differently now, knowing what you know?
Stop taking life so seriously and stop being so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Because I can't. Oh my, Kate, if you've seen the women and the men that came in with the same stresses, the same just like life burdens, and everyone is so hard on themselves right now. And
Yeah.
it's like we're all going through it. And and I think that's part of where like kind of my coaching talents used to come in, because
Yep.
I'm very good at kind of like coaching the patients and coaching them like, whoa, hold on, take a step back. Let's relax. Like you just listed off a lot of things that you're doing and then looked at me and said that you were overwhelmed.
Yeah.
A lot of people couldn't do the things that you just listed.
Yeah.
And I use that for my own methods too. But I think that we live in such a fast-paced world and there's so much expected of one person that everyone feels overwhelmed.
Yes.
And I think if I could give any advice, it would be for everyone to kind of just take a breath.
Yep.
And to be nice to yourself.
Yeah. And then to go on that too, what type of coaching do you offer? Because I know you mentioned personal training and stuff like that, but it's all related. It's mind, body, spirit, and everything. So
Yep.
Can you talk about some of the coaching that you focus on or the people you can help?
Absolutely. So I am a life coach that specializes in health and wellness and also a personal trainer. So a lot of what I do is health and wellness, mindfulness, and then exercise and meal preparation. And I kind of split that up into different categories because not all of the clients that I have are ready to exercise right away. And some of them just want to exercise and they feel great. They think, their health and wellness is going well. They eat well. They just need help in the gym. So I can kind of break it down depending on what the client's needs are, but I like to entwine it all into one. I think, like you said, and I'm glad that you said that, it's mind, body, spirit. And as long as everything is connected and everything is working to its full potential, you'll feel your absolute best.
Yeah. Yep. And what do you find your clients are struggling with the most when they do come to you? And it's like that sense of overwhelm. But what are some of the other things that would make someone reach out and be like, I need I need a coach for this. Like, it's too much to do on my own.
It's preparation. It's like you said, it's that overstimulation. It's that being overwhelmed. Well, I have this and this and this to do today. And you just told me that I had to eat 3 meals and they all had to be whole foods and I had to cook them all. Hold on, time out, because I'm human too, right?
Yeah.
So when they come to me, that's always like the first like anxiety breaker is you don't have to do that every day because we're gonna pick a meal prep day. One of your easiest days, we're gonna meal prep. So you're gonna have these tools and you're gonna have all these foods ready 3 to 4 days in advance.
Yeah.
And then on day 4, you're gonna have a plan of what you're gonna do for the next 3 days.
Mhm.
And then if one of your kids gets sick, or if, God forbid, if something was to happen, we're gonna have a backup plan.
Yeah.
And then you can almost see like the anxiety on some of the clients' faces. They're like, okay, oh wow, like, oh, I could do that. Exactly. All you're gonna do is you're gonna take out your meal prep, you're gonna pop it in the microwave, and you're gonna be all set.
Yep.
Because it does sound like a lot, like trying to constantly be prepared all the time. So I have like little tidbits on my Instagram and things that I do because I can't practice what I preach 24/7. It's impossible. I'm also human. So
Yeah.
sometimes I have to go and grab lunch somewhere, or I have to go pick something up. And those are tips that I offer people too, because that's going to happen. That's a real life situation.
Yeah.
But we just have to make good choices. And if you have the tools and I give you the good choices that you can make, you know that when you get into those chaotic situations, you don't have to backtrack.
Yep. Yep. Backtrack or get stressed about it, because I also feel like when you're on a healing journey, at least myself, it was like, there's so much of like, you can eat this, you can't eat that. And it gets a little bit almost too much where it's like,
Mhm.
that can cause you more stress by trying to be healthy and stuff like that. So having the prep, but also knowing like, hey, it's okay if you're out and you have to grab something. And it's the point that you're making healthier choices overall, and not
Exactly.
like the other way. So,
Right.
because that can happen too. And in your personal journey and just even in working with your clients, what do you find you focus on the most? Because you do have training in like the physical body aspect with personal training, and then like a holistic coaching certification and stuff like that. So where do you find you are getting started with people and assessing where they're at?
Yeah, so it really just depends on why they come to me and it depends on exactly what their goals are. So if they come to me because, they're feeling like their life is just really chaotic and they're struggling with kind of just like mental clutter and like organization skills, then we can kind of sit down and strategize that.
Yep.
If they're looking for health and wellness education, then we can talk a lot about how to be healthy. We can talk about meditation, we can talk about taking time for yourself, different types of supplements, different kind of health strategies that I can help people with, like affirmations, different books that I can recommend. And then I always talk about exercise. Regardless if the client is ready to exercise or not, it'll always be a recommendation of mine. Um, because the amount of things that exercise can help with, whether it be medical, mental, spiritual, um, it's phenomenal what it can do for you.
Yep.
But it's really just taking the client's current stresses and kind of just like really digging deep to figure out like how we can create a plan. So I customize a lot of the plans
Yep.
because like I said, not everyone's ready for the exercise or not everybody wants to do kind of the health and wellness stuff. So it really just depends on what they're looking for.
Yeah, 100%. That makes sense. And I think you bring up a good point, though, even with exercise. And I know you say everybody's not ready for exercise, but everybody should be ready to like walk, move your body for 20 minutes a day. It's like moving I remember because even growing up, I was pretty athletic and into running and could always do stuff, and I would work out hard. And then having back issues and stuff like that, it slowed me down. And I would do nothing instead of being like, well, I can't work out how I used to, so I'm just going to do nothing. That is like the worst decision I could have made.
Yep.
So it was like easing back in and being okay with that, being like, hey, walk for a little bit in a day and stuff like that. And it makes all the difference in the world. So it's just like, yeah, moving your body is the best advice I got at one point during, it was like, just move. It doesn't have to be a run like you used to or lifting like you used to, but moving your body. But yeah, and lifting also, which you can speak to, is phenomenal for even if it's body weight and stuff like that, just getting back into it. But it does wonders for your body.
Absolutely. And I agree. A lot of people that I talk to have very similar situations where they've had injuries or they're afraid to do that. And I couldn't agree more. It's the same recommendation for me all the time, like just take a walk. And
Yeah.
people do. They really they overthink it. Like I can't just take a walk. You absolutely can just take a walk.
Yep. Yep.
And
It's
that
all,
can be enough.
yeah. 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 It's just move the body.
Right.
So, yeah, 100%. And I know you mentioned too, like supplementation and stuff like that. Do you have standard supplements that you recommend, or is it dependent on different people? Because I know supplementation can be a really tough topic too, because there are so many different brands. People can put, some of the brands are just crap. Not everybody needs a ton of supplementation. So how do you go about that whole conversation? Because I know people too will come and be like, what supplements can I take when I'm starting? And it's like, well, wait, like rewind. What should be things people are thinking about?
Yeah, absolutely. So it really just depends on their situation. But luckily, I have a lot of really good resources that I recommend. I work with a holistic doctor. She's a medical provider, and she specializes in health and wellness, and one of her specialties is also supplements.
Yep.
So I do a lot of referring to her, as well as a dietitian that works within her practice.
Um,
Um, yeah. So any questions that I can't answer, if they're a little bit too beyond my scope of practice, I have a lot of other recommendations.
That's awesome. I think that's great. Yeah, that's why, because it can be so hard and overwhelming. And yeah, it's just the whole journey can be hard and overwhelming.
It
Um,
really can.
yeah. What's the best piece of advice that you've received from someone while you were on your healing journey?
That's a really good question. I think it would be to take my time and to know that I'm going to be healing for the rest of my life.
Yep.
I think a lot of, which actually was my perspective on it too, until I heard that, I thought, oh, I'm healed. I'm done. I'm a healed woman. And
Yeah.
that's actually not the way it works. And a lot of people don't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, you heal forever, and you continue to heal, and you continue to grow until you're the absolute best person that you can be, until you reach your higher self. And then I think the point of that is to teach other people. And like, you're still growing in that aspect, because that way now you're collaborating, now you're networking. And you had asked me earlier that, which I don't think I answered, but I did end up getting a coach.
Okay.
So I started my own journey, and I did a lot of things by myself for months. I would say probably about 6 months. I with just the affirmations, reading a lot of books, really just educating myself, trying to figure out my own chaos in my life. And then I started exercising. But a year into my journey, I did get a coach, and I sat down with him, and it kind of just explained my journey and told him where I was at, and we picked up from there.
That's awesome. And what do you find you were able to do working with a coach that you kind of couldn't do on your own? Not that you can't do it on your own, but I believe in having a coach so much. Like, I've had one pretty much through my whole like journey as a business owner, and yeah, in different aspects. But for you in your perspective, how did that help you?
Immensely. So I actually have two coaches. I wasn't thinking about business wise. But so for my healing journey, it helped me because although I have a very positive outlook on life, and I'm a very, very motivated woman, having encouragement is everything. Having someone to constantly encourage you and tell you that you can do it is so important.
Mhm.
And, for me, that's a lot what my coach does. We work out together, we do a ton of things together. But more than anything, he's always there to encourage me and to tell me, yes, you're doing the right thing. But then he's also like, wait, whoa, whoa, no, we're not doing that. And I'm like, okay, all right, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
But then I also have a coach from a business aspect. She's wonderful. She helps me with my website. She kind of gives me different ideas. She helps me with like branding, and really it's different perspectives, working closely with somebody and listening to their perspectives and kind of saying, okay, wow, there was more than one way to look at this.
Yep, yep. And uh, I know too. So this is kind of like jumping conversation, but when you mentioned, your biggest thing was taking a step back and realizing that you needed to take ownership of yourself. Do you find working with a lot of clients that that's a hard thing to come by, is like taking that ownership and excuses? Because I was going to say, for me, that might have been one of the last things like that actually was like, wait, I have to take ownership for some of these things, because I hired all these coaches and practitioners being like, well, they're going to fix me, not like I can fix myself type thing. And so do you find that, anyways, would love to hear your perspective on what you see with clients when you're working with them. Because I feel like that's amazing that you realized that on your own and took the right steps. It's incredible. But
So to be honest, Kate, I'm glad that you said that, because I didn't realize what I was truly doing until I got a coach. And I was already a year into my journey when he sat me down and said, nobody does this.
no.
And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you've done so much work on your own, and really really put it into a perspective of how strong I really am.
Yep.
So the answer is no. Actually, when the clients will send me like, well, that was mean. Like, no, it's not mean. You need to look at yourself. What are you doing that putting
Yeah.
yourself in the situation that you're in? And that's what having a coach is all about. Like, I'm here to help you, and I might not say things that you want to hear, and you're not going to like everything I have to say all the time, but I'm going to be here to support you every step of the way.
Mhm.
And you can't fix something if you don't know it's broken.
Yep. Yep.
So, that's really my approach to it. And I think, and it wasn't easy for me either, but at some point you have to take ownership and you have to take accountability for your own life. And you
Yep.
have to step back and say, this is my life. It is a chaotic tornado. What do I do?
Yes.
And
Yep.
then you take one step, and then you take one step. And people a lot of times tend to dwell on the past and, things they had done, things they haven't done. It's never too late for anything.
No, no, nope. I started my life and career over at 40. So like
Beautiful.
it's never too late. Like that's
Yep.
why. And I think a lot of people have been through a lot of like traumatic events and things that happen. And like you say, life happens and you get caught up in that. Like, I just can't take time for myself. And like, it's just a lot going on, but yeah, you can take ownership for how you are not, but yes, absolutely. Were things hard in your life? I'm sure, but like now what are you going to do in the future? Because you own
Right.
that. You have control over that and your actions and stuff like that. So no, I love that. And then the other thing I want to talk about is just in working with you, are there certain programs? I know everybody's different and it depends, but do you have different programs? Do you recommend 3 months, 6 months? Like what are some of the, and then some of the reasons for having, a certain timeline?
Yeah, so I do offer different programs. So really the way that my package is run right now is life coaching, health and wellness, and then I have personal training and meal preparation. Now we can kind of incorporate any one of those three into your customized plan and then kind of work it out from there. If your only desire is for one specific category, that's totally fine too. And then as far as my plans go, so it's been a little bit tricky because I think right now we're having a universal financial crisis. And it's something that I hear a lot from my clients. Oh, I wish I could work with you and I can't afford it. I'm so sorry. Like I really need the help. And so I actually customize my plans based around that, which none of my coaches agreed with. But my goal is
I
to help
know.
people. Yeah, they were not happy.
You just want to help people, and
But I
that's what I
do.
love about this space.
Right. And like that's really the goal. And like I don't, you know, the finances will come and
Mhm,
my business will grow.
mhm.
But right now, not to sound like soft, but like I want to leave a mark on everyone's heart and I want people to feel good.
Yes.
Um,
Yep.
and I want people to say Samantha Mazzola helps me. And
Yep.
like that's for me is the biggest that's like
Yeah.
the most accomplishing feeling for me. So I now offer single plans, which is not recommended. So I don't recommend doing single sessions. It's very hard to accomplish something in a single session. But I explain that to the clients up front. If this is what you can afford, we're going to accomplish as much as we possibly can in this time, but I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
What I do recommend, however, is a 90-day.
Mhm.
So my plans are based off 90 days, 6 month, and then annual.
Yeah.
I mandatory 90 days. We need time to be able to work together to show progress and then to achieve goals. 90 days is a really good starting point where we can create goals, work
Yep.
through them, and then have progress points. And then at the end of that 90 days, we can say, how much have we accomplished here? And should we continue on to the 6 months? Or can you take these tools and use them for the rest of your life? Because
Yep.
my goal is to teach you as much as possible in the shortest amount of time so that you can use that for the rest of your life. And if you
Yep.
ever need to come back to me, you have my phone number.
Yep.
Um, that's really my goal. But
Yeah.
again, I did hear what a lot of people had to say, and I am willing to work with people on single sessions, and then it's like even if it's just to get you started, you need certain affirmation help. If you need certain things to help you sleep, certain meditation tools, let's work those things out. And then when you're in a better space, you can call me. I'll have your file ready.
I love that. And you're so sweet. And like, that's what that, but again, like I mentioned that this is what I love about this space is everybody's been on their own journey and they know and have been there. And it's like, I just want to help people. And so it's
Yeah.
special. Yeah. Makes my heart warm for sure. That's why. Um, now just before we finish up, is there anything that we didn't cover today that you do want to talk about, that I didn't touch on?
No, and I think that we did that. This was great. I mean, I absolutely love collaborating with you. I'm so looking forward to working with you and all your practitioners in the future.
Me too.
Um, But I think that the only thing that I would say is all my contact info will be listed in the bio. I'll make sure that my website is attached. You can fill out inquiries on my website, or you can kind of inquire about any of the services that I have. You can find me on Instagram, which is also on my website. I have an Instagram feed, and never be shy. Ask questions, even if you just want to do my content. So if you have any questions, if you want to reach out, feel free to do so.
I love that. Thank you so much. And then one question I did forget to ask you with the personal training, do you do Zoom sessions as well? Can you do the personal training over Zoom?
Yes. So it is offered virtually. Actually, that is a really good point. So there is a little bit of an upcharge for in-person training at the gym, only because of, gas is so high and it's really like the time management. I'd prefer to do in person, but I'm also available virtually.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Yep. Okay, cool. And well, in person, so where are you located?
So I'm located in the Mass, but I have traveled throughout the North Shore.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Just to cover that. And all your information too will be in the show notes and everything like that. But no, it's just been a pleasure having you on here. And I've loved working with you and everything like that. So super excited. And I'm so excited for you on your journey and helping people even more than you already have. So I think it's amazing.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Kate.